Ah! Yeah, I know. You may be wondering, what is all the laughter about? Well, listen, we were supposed to go live at 11:15. And so if anybody was plugged in trying to tap in at that time, I do apologize. Believe it or not, right? Here's what the laughter is about. Believe it or not, I actually went live without going live. I turned my camera on. I went through all of my slides, went through all of the clips, talked about the subject matter. And when I got done, when I went to hit the button to end the live, the screen lit up and said go live. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on? So guys, I had actually did like a 45, 50-minute live thinking I was talking to you guys, and nobody was there because I wasn't there. So so forgive me. So so if you can, if if you tap in now, great. And if you tap in later, that's cool too. Super appreciative, man, that you guys would even come back and check in with us. Um, Definitely, I'm going to try and get together the um, the process of going live. Try to make it more smooth and try to really, ensure that I hit all of the metrics right when it's time to, get things underway because everybody's time is valuable. My time is valuable. And when you guys, give of your time, I have to treat your time like it's valuable. And so being in the right place, the right time, and making sure I do what I need to do to make sure that the show goes off the way it needs to is what I absolutely will be doing going forward. So let me kind of tell you a few things, man, coming up here at the GM, man. We have a big time conversation coming up tomorrow that we're going to go live for. Um, we're going to be talking about the AFC North and more even, uh, or more specifically, we're going to be focused on, is the Baltimore Ravens still the king of the North? Or better English, are the Baltimore Ravens still the king of the North? And that's why we're going to have this first part of the conversation today in order to have the conversation tomorrow. And it's probably going to end up being a uh, two-part conversation, the king of the North, only because we're going to talk about each AFC North team um, with a little bit of detail: Browns, Bengals, Steelers, and of course the Ravens. And we're going to talk about specifically, have the Baltimore Ravens done enough, or will they do enough to stay at the top? So give me 1 second, man. Give me borrow 30 seconds. Let me do a few things just to make sure that everything is everything. And we'll get this thing going. All right, let me turn this music down some. All right, let me get over here. Get this thing turned down for you guys. And so we got that done. And then let me get this thing up and going and we're ready. All right, man. So what we're going to be talking about today, man, of course, is the Baltimore Ravens. And our first topic, our first topic is going to be about where we are currently, right? If we take a snapshot, right, and we just do the highs and lows of a 14-month period. 14 months from right now, give or take a week or so, will take us back to the playoffs in the 2024 season, 2023, 2024 season, right? And in that season, in that playoff run, we beat the we beat the Texans, and then we faced off against the Chiefs, and we fell in defeat. Okay, and so all of us left that game frustrated, and having a lot of consideration of if the Baltimore Ravens had have just done this, then we would have had a better result. Whether that was run the ball, coach better, execute better, whatever it was, we all had a mindset of what the Baltimore Ravens could have done in order to make their outcome better. All right. So all we had to do was do what? Get better around the edges because the core of our team was solid. And in truth, right, we upgraded the backfield. It was out with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins and in with the King, right? In with King Henry, so to speak. And then we, had a few signings on the margins, whatever. We rebuilt the offensive line or at least retooled the offensive line and went into the season, had kind of a slow start. Then we start, gearing up offensively and we struggled defensively, but we got better. And, Lamar Jackson had a elite level season at quarterback, threw for over 4,000, ran for over 900, first quarterback to ever do that. We, got into the playoffs, well, excuse me, won the division, got into the playoffs. Uh, who do we play in the first round this season? Pittsburgh. We'll beat Pittsburgh, and then we played a tough game against the Buffalo Bills. And so that brings us to right now. And then you guys know what we've done this offseason. We signed Ronnie Stanley, kept, let's say we retained Ronnie Stanley, retained Ricard, retained Tomlin Wallace, and signed DeAndre Hopkins, so on and so forth. So the first question or first topic of conversation of today is progress, regress, or success, right? Have the Baltimore Ravens made progress? Have they regressed? Or have they maintained success, right? And so, again, we're taking a 14-month snapshot from the AFC Championship heartbreak up into and through today. And so progress, right? Progress speaks to advancement, right? And so the question for you guys is have the Baltimore Ravens made progress from that time, right? From the time of the AFC Championship to right now, have the Baltimore Ravens made any progress? And as of right now, I would have to say no, right? Let's talk about that. I would have to say no. Here's why. We ended up in the AFC Championship, and then we got bounced out this year in the divisional round. And AFC Championship to divisional round is kind of a step back. Granted, it is difficult to advance and make the Super Bowl and win titles. I get that. But there is enough evidence out there that says the right team, the right team at the right time can have a repetitive process to where they are being successful, right? They are making progress. And so when I take into consideration where we were within 14 months from there to now, I don't think we've made progress. We rebuilt the offensive line. Last offseason, we still have questions about that same offensive line this offseason. It doesn't sound like we've made a lot of progress. Okay. When you think about offense, tight ends are still good. Running back room is still good. What's that other wide receivers? They did upgrade Hopkins over Aguilar, but I don't know how much of an upgrade. Is he a better player? Yes. But is the outcomes going to be better between the two? I don't know, right? So that's a wait and see. And so I think that offensively, we haven't made any progress. When we jump to the defensive side of the ball, we've lost a couple of pieces. We lost Brandon Stevens, no matter what we think about him, that opened up the basically the number two, or what well, I guess you would call it a number three cornerback room. We'll talk about Awuzie here in a second. At the linebacker position, we lost the two veterans who kind of plugged and played last year. Defensive line, we lost Michael Pierce. And so when you look at it defensively, again, in that same 14-month snapshot, I don't think we can say that we've made progress. Now, so the question would be, if we have not made progress, okay, then is it regression? Have we really regressed? Have we taken a step back? Well, I'm not going to call it regression, even though we didn't reach the same plateau that we reached in the 23-24 season. But what I will say is that we did see some improvement, exponentially from Lamar Jackson. We did see a better run game, or an improved run game, although were consistently dominant in the run game. We did see more touchdowns and from Rashad Bateman, and a better offensive output from him. We did see Mark Andrews have a bounce back season. Looks like he's going to be on the roster. We'll talk about that as we close in on the draft. Um, we did see Isaiah Likely and Lamar Jackson's chemistry make another leap in the right direction. Defensively, we did get better in the. It wasn't even halfway, right? Because we were trash all the way through about 10 and a half games. And so we really didn't get improved until basically you could say week 11 through the end of the season. And so um now that now that sounds like okay, I hear you. Progress slightly. An anti-narrative said he don't think so. And so I wouldn't call it regression, right? So I think our only option is the third option. And I think we've done enough to maintain success. Now, I think that being able to maintain success is a positive, right? Because um, I think right now, if we rolled out a team right now, we could go out and we could win 10 or 11 games. I believe that. That's with a hole at safety until we figure out what Washington is going to do. That's with a hole at the number two linebacking position. Because even though Trent Simpson is there, I think it is still a hole. Some questionable pass rush effectiveness, with a hole left by Michael Pierce, even though Travis Jones could step in immediately and fill that spot, with a hole or a question at left guard. I think we could still step on the field and win 10 or 11 games and be competitive in many other games. But nevertheless, is our ability to have maintained a level of success, what does that look like in comparison to everybody else's level? Have other contending teams raised their level to our level of maintaining? And that's why our conversation tomorrow is going to be super huge, because we're going to get into the conversation about, in the AFC North, are we still able to hold on to the crown? Okay. Because I believe that, you know, uh, in the tide waters of the AFC, I think the level of competition around us has raised, right? So if we were here in number three, right, and then you had four, five, six, seven, and then some other teams knocking on the playoff door, I think that we stayed here. But I think the levels of competition are rising up around us. And so I think that we haven't regressed, but I do not think we've made progress. And I think that is the question that we have to answer, from the GM to the coaching staff to the players on the field. And so, and again, I don't even think it's about the safety, the corners, the edges, and the offensive line. I think it's our approach collectively. I think I understand that we don't have a lot of money in free agency. We never have a lot of money for free agency. So let's just tell that truth. But I don't think that our level of aggression in being able to build the roster sometimes is appropriate enough. I don't think it's urgent enough sometimes to make progress, right? I know things are going to be played out on the field. There are going to be a lot of paper champions, right? There's a lot of teams who have already won the championship based on free agency, but that doesn't matter until you actually play it out. And so our conversation is going to be deep. Tomorrow is going to be vast. And I think it's going to have to be two parts. So let me know what you guys want me to know, man. Do you think the Ravens have made progress? Have they regressed? Or do you think, that the Baltimore Ravens have just maintenance, right? It's like your car, right? So let's say if you drove, let's go truck. Let's say you had a F-150 double cab, um, all of the fixings, right? So you don't go trade your truck in and upgrade it. You just take it to the shop. You get the oil change. You get the tires rotated. You get alignment if you need it. You just do what you need to do to maintain it, to keep it running. And I think that's what we've done as the Baltimore Ravens. I think we've done enough to keep the team running, but I think that sometimes we need to make some upgrading type moves. And so it's going to be super, super interesting to see what we do between now and the draft, and then from after the draft. Will we make any? I don't. Now, here's the truth. I don't think there's any upgrading type moves. There's a few guys that I like who could fill some holes still left in free agency that I think could be upgrades. But I think for the most part, everything that we will be doing at this point is a maintenance. I don't think that there's going to be a draft pick that's going to come in and be an upgrade, because you don't know what you're going to get from a rookie. You just don't. And so the unfortunate part is I think that we're going to um, we're going to have to just play the wait and see game. But right now, I would give the Ravens kind of a B, not too high, not too low for what we've done so far, and where we are in this contending part of our right, right. I think that so now that's a great point. The anti-narrative mentioned Chuck Pagano, and I do think that he is an upgrade from what we had last year. But here's what's super, super interesting. The former, I believe he's the DB coach who went over to Tennessee. He has them being the number one defense in the league. So I'm wondering if our former DB coach, um, I wonder uh, if we should have kept the DB coach, made him the DC versus Zach Orr, because man, they're getting results over there in Tennessee. They're not winning because the offense is trash, but their defense is rock solid. But let's get to our second topic. All right, so Jaire Alexander. Now let's be clear. Let's be clear. There is absolutely no way that the Baltimore Ravens are trading for Alexander. Let me tell you why. So when you look at his contract, I think it's knocking around 18 to 20 million dollars, which is a fair market value for a guy of his caliber. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The problem with Alexander is he gets a lot of PTO. He gets a lot of PTO time. He gets a lot of paid time off, right? He's getting paid for being off. And I get it, man. A player can't help really unless he's just not training. He's not in control of his diet. He doesn't have that kind of discipline. But when you look at some of the injuries Jair Alexander has had, it's not because of lack of training and things like that. He's just getting injuries. I think this past season he missed a lot of games because of his shoulder. So let's be clear. The reason why I have him on our topic board for today is because I have read a couple of articles over the last 48 hours that speak to emphatically, I might add. Snodman, I think is the name of it's the name of the is the Snodman, I think is the author of the article. It says that Jair Alexander is not, let me be clear, is not a part of the Green Bay Packers future, right? And because nobody's trading for him, right? I think that they're going to put him on the street. Now that sounds like they're just throwing him out with the trash, but I just mean that they're going to cut him they're going to cut and or release him, which is effectively the same thing. I don't think anybody claims him off waivers. I don't think it's a fact of giving up draft capital to get Jair Alexander because I'm sure you could nab him for a fifth or sixth round pick. I think the problem is the amount of money he comes with, and you would immediately have to either restructure, kick his money down the road, or you would have to extend him. But then you would be extending a guy who has not played a full season, I think, in his whole career. And so I think it's more of a it's more of a risk than it is of a reward. Now, when he's right and on the field, he's top notch. But the thing is, when is he on the field? So why am I talking about him in the context of the Ravens? Well, if they put him on the street, my question to you guys is, would you guys be comfortable signing him to a deal? Right? I know we signed Awuzie, and that's a that's a marginal upgrade from Brandon Stevens in the context of technique and play, but in the context of health is a downgrade. Let me be very very clear. Awuzie is a good corner, but because of his health concerns, right? It's a marginal upgrade between Stevens and Awuzie because Stevens actually plays. I don't know if he's missed a game. If he had, I can't remember it. I know he didn't miss one this past season, where Awuzie gets some PTO time as well. And so I think that you're going to need another one or two guys, not JAD, not Jalen Armour Davis, because he also gets PTO time. And so, am I saying, so does it make sense to add Jair Alexander with his injury history? Yes, in the context of we would be able to get a lockdown type corner at a reasonable value because Green Bay was still is going to still owe him some money. Same kind of context as Woozier still being owed money by Tennessee. Now, he's not going to come as cheap as a Woozier. And so um, I agree. If the price is right, if the price is right, Malachi B, I think that we should take a shot on a Jair Alexander because here's the bonus. Because Awuzie and Alexander have health concerns, you could rotate them, right? And I don't know who would get the volume. And I don't really care about that. I would rather have the problem of having both than having the problem of just having one and one of them have injury. I would also rather have the problem of having one of them in or both versus leaning too heavy on a rookie because you again you don't know what that rookie. Let me give you an example. Let's say if we get Azariah Thomas, right? I like him. He's a good cover guy. He can do, he has good speed. Now he's not elite in speed, but he's a good cover guy. He has good speed. But what he will be coming into in the AFC North is a house of horrors, right? When it comes to wide receivers. So what would we expect from him to be able to do with that murderer's row of wide receivers that we're going to face? That's why I'm talking about getting another guy like a Jair Alexander who can play in coverage and also in zone. And so, so yeah, I think if the price is right, I think that picking up a guy like a Jair Alexander could be a good deal and could bolster the secondary. Now, you guys know I've been a proponent of bolstering the offense for some time, and so let's get to that part of our conversation where we get to uh, mocking uh, mocking the Ravens, right? Um, I think that in all of the mocks that I've seen, most people are taking edge rushers, safeties, corners, things like that. And I don't know what you guys feel. Do me a favor, if you're still in here, man, please hit like if you're viewing it at this point. Hit subscribe if you've never subscribed. But I'm not really leaning at this point towards edge. And I'm gonna tell you why. The Baltimore Ravens have not shown an ability to draft an edge rusher at this point. Um, so when we're talking about mocking the Ravens, which we will do, um, I'm not super excited. I don't. It doesn't really matter if Peace. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I do see a lot of people talking about Derek Harmon. That seems to be, a guy who's getting a little bit of buzz. But let me hit who I think we should not, what we should not be doing in the first round. Um, I don't think we should just lock in on edge and or corner and or safety. Let's talk truth. We haven't shown an ability to draft an edge who's going to really progress and produce. Yeah, I know Adafe got double digit sacks, but he's not that disruptor. He's not that guy who collapses the pocket. He's not that guy who's going to demand a double team. And this is not me knocking him. He does what he does, and he's good as what he does. But when it comes to getting to the quarterback, that's what we need. We need a guy who's explosive off the edge. We need a guy who is in the backfield quickly off the edge with a level of consistency. And we just don't have that. And I think too many of our guys do the same type thing. Although Odafe and Robinson are two different players, they have two different styles. They actually produce the same kind of way. They both set good edges. They're both good against the run. And they can track down a quarterback, when he's just holding the ball, kind of a coverage sack type deal, but they're not really disruptive and wreaking havoc. And that's what we need off the edge. We need a guy who can wreak havoc. And I don't think that we get that guy sitting around at 27 because guys are going to fall, edge rushers are going to fall to 27 because they're going to be more of projects versus game changers. Um, when it comes to safety, I think that if we see Ardavius Washington take his tender, sign his tender, I think that safety's off the board. Um, and then when it comes to like defensive tackle, right? To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go D tackle because we have so much capital already invested, both in contract and also in picks in that D tackle position. Now, am I saying draft one way or another? No, I'm just saying I don't want to just look at defense just because we have a need there. And so I in fact either think I told you this before. I think that we either take 27 and go up and get somebody who can be a game changer or trade out of the 27 backwards. And I think right now it's probably a 55-45 chance that we trade down in that first round in order to get an extra second or an extra third. Nevertheless, let me show you. So you guys remember what we did in the mock draft. You remember I took a trade because I do believe that it's a possibility that the Ravens do trade down. You won't see it up here, but I'll tell you about it really quickly. We traded 27, we traded down, and we took. I need to look into Walter Nolan. I've heard a little bit about him, but I haven't watched any film on him. Um, but I'll definitely take a peek at him for sure. But so what we did is we took 27, we traded down. We picked up 33 from the Cleveland Browns. Great point. You are exactly right. We still do have Kane and Braid. So going safety man just seems so Kane, Braid, Hamilton, and Kane is definitely a strong safety type for sure. But you got 3 guys already. If a Washington signs his tender, now you got 4 guys in the safety room, and so taking another guy in the first round just seems like a misappropriation, misappropriation of the draft pick. And so I'm done. I'm done with that. I don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. We got to nail the draft. Excuse me, and we got to have somebody come in and make an impact. I'm not saying they have to be a starter, but a rotational piece who can make life better for the Baltimore Ravens. And so what we did is in our mock, we took and we traded down. We got the Cleveland Browns offered us pick 67 for pick 27. So we got 33, 67 from the Cleveland Browns for pick 27. So I took it. So that allows us in real life, if we were doing this in real life, that allows us to reset our board and be able to take the best player, literally best player available, maybe even at a position of need, because now we got 2 seconds and we got 2/3. So remember 33, 59, 67, and 91. Now we already did pick 33, and I'll reveal who I hear you. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that a corner who could play safety, kind of like what Brandon Stevens was for us for his first couple of seasons. And so we've already mocked 33, and I'll put all of the draft together and present it on the actual draft week. And then I also will do a draft where we actually try to make a move up and see who's available if we package some picks together. So these are the best 3 guys I saw available, I thought was available at pick 59. So this will be pick 59. Here are our options, and I want you guys to let me know what you guys think. So first up is
In the corner, 26, it is! Second half against Iowa. Looks this one down the side. He's on it there. Jaden Higgins on the fade route, pulls it in from the Iowa State bench. Goes to the air and he's got a touchdown. That was easy for Jaden Higgins. A duel in the game for Iowa State.
The pressure look here. Disguising it well.
Blitz to the end zone. Caught. It's Higgins. Touchdown, Iowa State.
Defeated in 6th ranked West Virginia here. They stormed the field after that game. Sweet Caroline. And here's Jaden Higgins. He's looking that way. In the corner. It's caught. It's Higgins. It's touchdown.
anti-narrative. You are spot on with that assessment. We do not attack the draft. We just let BPA fall to us. Right. 86, I do agree with what you're saying too. We need pieces who can turn into starters, right? And so while we're doing this, uh I do want to I'm gonna get you guys' comments in a second. Let me talk about Jaden Higgins really, really quickly. So you guys saw his highlights. I'm sure you guys have heard of him a couple of different times. And so Jaden Higgins is a 6'4", 215-pound wideout who who I think that we should give real consideration to. Granted, we do have Zay, we do have Bate, we do have DeAndre newly signed. We absolutely we do have those guys. Um, and so when it comes to pick 59 and best player available, see, I wonder sometimes if the Ravens actually do best player available, or is it best player available based on what they want to do, right? Is it best player available based on how to build a defense? I wonder if that's really the methodology to it. Uh, uh, Malachi, this is my favorite receiver too. I like him better than I like Tech. I like him better than I like now. I do like Matthew Golden. I do like him, his speed, his size, all those kind of things. But other than him, Jaden Higgins is my favorite wide receiver. In fact, Steve Smith, if you watch that video, that if you watch Steve Smith Sr., when 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 you think of when you think of you know his top 10 breakdown, He said that he sees Mike Evans in Jaden Higgins. Now that's high praise, that's high credential for a rookie wide receiver. But he can do everything. He can stretch the field a little bit because he runs fast for his size. He runs 4.47, which means in pads he probably runs a 4.5. And then true, that may not be his true speed because if you guys have ever ran the 40, everybody's not a guy who gets a good start out of the blocks, right? Some people don't react to a whistle or a gun that quickly. And so he may actually be faster than 4.47, but we're still talking about 6'4, 215 pounds. And this is before he's even been in an NFL weight room. This is before he's been on an NFL meal plan. This is for he's had an NFL training camp, an off-season program, and so I think he definitely has an ability to get better and provide something for us pretty quickly. Right. That's exactly how I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he could come on immediately, that being Jaden Higgins, and he could be a red zone threat. But also, I'm thinking of a guy who could step in to the role vacated by DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins is a 1 year rental. Again, I'm not knocking him. He may have some game left, so I'm not even coming at him that way. I just think that a guy like Jaden Higgins, who is highly rated at pick 59, could be an instant upgrade. He could jump over Talon Wallace. He could jump over Tez Walker. And I'm not even talking about in his rookie season. I'm just simply saying if we really go best player available, he's going to be the best player available on the board. But let's look at who else was available at pick 59, and then we'll discuss all of them. Hold on one sec. Mm, 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 mm. And by the way, this is offensive tackle Josh Connolly. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean for the next name to come up, but let's talk about Josh Connolly really quick. So I've seen Josh Connolly go anywhere from as high as pick 22, 23, based on teams who need offensive line help. I've seen him be available at pick 27. Also seen him mocked in early second round, but in this particular mock draft exercise, I saw him available at 59. Now, he is absolutely a high end tackle in this particular draft class. He does have flexibility. He can play left and right tackle. Now, granted, we don't need a starter right now, but we do need depth and we need quality depth. We don't know what it's going to look like short term for Ronnie Stanley. Um, we don't know what it looks like for Roger Rosengarten. Josh Connolly is a guy that could provide immediate depth and talent and upgrade the backup spots at both left and right. But he could also plug in and play at left guard as a competitive uh, um, opportunity for Voorhees. Um, right. That's what I thought. I thought Josh Connolly was a no-brainer. If he was on the board, and but like I said, I think he could plug right in at left guard, compete immediately with Voorhees. Because I'm not really excited about Voorhees. I don't know if you guys are, but I think he could plug in right there, and we would have a guy with good feet, good hand placement, good strength, good athlete, and then he could be the successor to Ronnie Stanley, and or if they move Roger Rosengard to the left, he could absolutely plug in and play at right tackle. So I think Josh Connolly, if he is on the board, I think they run to the podium, turn it in, because I think we have the future on the left side of this offensive line. And and we'll talk more after we watch this next guy. So um, Braden Swinson is a guy that I hadn't heard of. I hadn't seen anybody mock him to the Ravens. I hadn't watched any tape on him. Hold on one second. But I want you guys to watch him if you haven't watched him. Hold on. But I want you guys to watch this guy. I want you to watch what he does. You're gonna see about six highlights from him. But I want you guys to watch him. And if you know about him, by all means, drop that into the comments. Excuse me, the comment and or the chat. But I want you guys to watch him, and then we'll talk about him more extensively once his highlights are over. Let me get this video set up.
Dart took it down
Mhm.
all over the place. They bring pressure up the middle. They send Henry Parrish out wide. Design run for Dart, and they're ready for
back. If it's not there, check it down or throw it away.
Third down. He is 10 out of 17 in the first half for a 155 and a touchdown. 100-yard receiving game of the year, and this their 7th game. Play clock down to 4. Another blitz. Swinton still beats the right tackle out of the previous 18. Pressure.
Now, so Swinson, and we'll talk about Deion Walker here in a second. I definitely hear you. I'm not going to ignore that because he is actually my favorite defender in this draft. But Swinson is a guy who's not your prototypical edge. You know, he is not 6'5", 6'6", and 260 plus pounds. He's actually 6'3", 250. But we've tried the big body guys. No, Odafe is 6'4", 6'5", 260 plus. Tavius Robinson is 6'4", 6'5", 260 plus. Ojabo is a little bigger of a guy. Adisa Isaac is a little bigger of a guy. So he brings a little something different to the table at 6'3", 250. And we've seen smaller, I guess, 6'3", 250 is not small, but we've seen smaller edge rushers be successful in the league. You take a guy like a Hassan Reddick, who's been a double-digit sack guy most of his career. He's only 6'1", 245 pounds. And so this guy's a little longer. He's a little taller. But if you watch those clips, he's explosive off the edge. That's the one thing we don't have in our edge rush room, right? We don't have that guy who's explosive. And this guy has, you know, he can get off the edge. He can play against the run. And I think that we don't need to go edge in the first round if you have quality edges like this guy who is still available. But when you look at all of our candidates, Higgins and also Connerly, uh, I think that Connerly is the no-brainer. Um, Swenson would be the number 2. Higgins would be the number 3. Now, here's why I say it that way, because I'm thinking like how the Ravens would view it. I think they would, again, if Conley is available, I think they would take him. If Swenson over Higgins was available, a guy who can play like Swenson does, I think they would take him. But I was absolutely on the lookout for Deion Walker, and he was gone. He was gone. I've actually heard some buzz that teams would be willing to take him at the bottom of the first round. He has kind of a Jordan Davis feel to him, a big body guy who can offer some pass rush from the inside, but you could also get him out on the edge a little bit. I don't mean like edge rush. I mean a more of a defensive end style. He could give you some pass rush. So he's absolutely who I would, if he was available at number 59, I wouldn't hesitate at all. But I don't think he'll be available that late. Um, but hey, if we were literally to trade back and get number 33, I would be willing to take Deion Walker at 33. I think he's going to be that kind of good. and he would come into a defensive line room where he doesn't have to come in and be the guy immediately. I think that he would be an upgrade over Broderick Washington, that being Deion Walker. And I think that he would make a guy like Meta BK more expendable in a couple of seasons when some of his guaranteed money starts coming off our books. So that's what I had for you guys, man. I had those three candidates. Let me know who you guys like. Again, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Let's let's get ready to close out right here. Um, I think the Baltimore Ravens haven't regressed. If we hit our topics, let me hit our topics. Let's go back to the top. There we go. I don't think they've made progress. I don't think they've regressed either. I just think they've done enough to maintain success. And that's typically what we do. We do just enough. And I think it could cost us. I think just doing enough. There's an old school saying, depending on how old you guys are, you guys may know it. Old school people would say, uh, keep my head above the water, which means I'm just doing enough to make it. And I think that's what the Baltimore Ravens do. They do just enough to make it when everybody else around them is raising their ceilings. They do just enough to stabilize their floor. That's the best way I can put it. And it has been successful, but if we can be honest, it has been on the strength of one Lamar Jackson. When and this is not a Lamar Jackson propaganda today. This is not a Lamar Jackson promotion today. This is just me stating what's true. We have been successful not because we had elite coaching, not because we had elite play calling, not because we switched out Todd Monken, switched out Greg Roman for Todd Monken, not even because we got Derrick Henry. Can we tell the truth? We were already a dominant run team with Lamar Jackson leading the way. What Derrick Henry allowed us to do this past season is be able what Derrick Henry allowed us to do is, is be in a position to where we have a presence now. Gus Edwards in concert with J.K. Dobbins, in concert with Justice Hill, we were able to produce some similar numbers. Similar don't mean same. This past season, we had basically a 2,000 yard um, running back, a little over 1,900, and a 900 yard quarterback. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't really have a high appreciation for my quarterback having to run 900 yards in order to help power the running game. And so and then Justice Hill filled in really well. But all Derrick Henry allowed us to do is have a presence back there that when you do turn around and have that play fake, it's going to cause a lot of people to come towards the line of scrimmage, and then we can hit them over the top, which is what we saw a lot this past season. I'm not denigrating Derrick Henry because 1,900 yards is 1,900 yards, and double-digit touchdowns is double-digit touchdowns. But I'm going to show you guys some stuff tomorrow morning in our live that will kind of speak to why it's important to improve our offensive line and raise the ceiling and the floor in that room. And so um, I don't think we've made progress. I don't think we regress. I think we've done enough to maintain a level of success. That's the nature of bringing back a Patrick Ricard. That's the nature of bringing back a Tylan Wallace. Low end signings that give us some depth and some flexibility. When it comes to Jaire Alexander, I don't think anybody's going to trade for him, but I do believe he'll be put on the street up until the draft. And nobody trades for him draft night. He'll be released shortly after the draft. I'm not an advocate that the Baltimore Ravens should make any kind of move like that. Um, and so, but I am for the Baltimore Ravens pursuing him heavily if he is released. No different than as soon as they thought Darius Slay was released, they were on him. They had a deal in place ready to offer it to him almost instantly. And so I think Jaire Alexander is that same type of quality cornerback, and I think he would raise the floor and the ceiling of our secondary. And then when we come to marking the draft, you guys saw the candidates: Jaden Higgins, we had Josh Connolly, and we also had what's his name, Braden Swinson, who is an explosive edge rusher off the edge. So you guys let me know what you guys think concerning the mock draft, concerning Jair Alexander, and also Josh Connolly. Uh, just kind of a PSA. Tomorrow morning between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, we will go live. It won't be no snafu. Yeah, I will not forget to press the go live button. We're going to be in the seat, ready to go. We have a conversation where we're going to be talking about the AFC North. You're going to want to be around for this conversation because I'm going to say some things in that particular discussion that, if we're honest, you guys will be able to get down with. You guys will be able to agree with. It's going to probably be a two-part conversation, depending on how long the stream goes, because I don't know if we'll be able to get all four teams in the AFC North into that one live stream. So listen, man, I'm your guy Boulanger. I appreciate you guys for kicking it with us. Um, and I'll check you guys tomorrow, 9:30 to 10 o'clock a.m. We'll get started between that time and we'll break bread again, talking about some ball. Uh, I'm I'm in EST. Yes, sir. I'm in the EST time zone for sure. For sure. And so, man, I appreciate you guys for checking in, man. I love just talking ball. And in fact, guys, what I am planning to do starting next week, I don't know which day, I'm going to start dropping the link for the stream so that you guys can join this conversation live and you guys can be live and in color, so to speak, in this conversation. I'm not discriminatory. All I ask is no cussing, no foul mouth. We're grown men and women, and we're going to conduct ourselves accordingly, man. So listen, I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys. See you guys in the morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm out.